have David Horrocks from Fletcher Moss. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name's David Horrocks. I'm the club chairman, development officer and skills coach for Fletcher Moss Rangers Junior Football Club. We've been around since 1986. The name Fletcher Moss Rangers comes from the original group of players that were playing in a local park. The local park was called Fletcher Moss Park. And it started in 1986 with a group of kids just kicking a ball about with the parents, and we started a little team. I wasn't involved at the time. Our club secretary, a chap called Ron Jameson, he was the one that helped start the team, and has been there since. He's still here with the club, and he's still running 3 teams on his own now, as well as doing the football secretary's job within the club. We've been around since 1986, and we've evolved we've tried to evolve as the game has evolved. We started off with just the one team and then built another team, and we noticed that the kids that was coming to us at the time were from some very deprived backgrounds of the local city. We had probably those first 2 teams. The boys in the teams were predominantly black and mixed race. We had probably a good 75% of kids in the team that were black and mixed race, which was, I'm not saying totally unheard of, but it was very rare. And throughout those early years, the teams would get terrible abuse from some of the opposing teams that we went, and we think that those sort of issues made the boys stronger. They made them more resolute. They made them tougher, and they wouldn't put up with those sort of things. And it came to the situation where our boys were not. I can't use the word intimidate, but they were, because of how tough they were and how personally tough they were, to put up with those sort of inhibitions. They would see them through games, and we built up quite a reputation of being very competitive. And our first son was Wes Brown, who obviously England international and did very well for Manchester United, and is still a friend of the club.
Wow. Yeah. And like I said, I mean, like you mentioned Wes Brown there. So there's been quite a lot of top talents that have actually come through that program. Even most notably, Jesse Lingard, Marcus Rashford, to name a few, Ravel Morrison. And, and I think even just a stat sort of heard was, you guys have been able to produce, as you look at it over the years, 96 plus professional players over time, which is amazing. That's great.
It is. We're really proud of it, and we've actually tried to fathom of why we've been able to do it. Okay. What's been the secret, or what's been the formula for what we do? And the only thing that we can put our finger on is it's how we are with the children and the parents. We are. We've got this ethos that if a kid goes to a professional club and signs a professional contract with them, if it doesn't work out, we will be their safety net. They can come back to us, and they can always rely on us to give them advice, to help them, and help the parents if we possibly can in any way we can. Because I'm not saying that the professional clubs out there are unscrupulous. Mm-hmm. But if they don't if the kids don't fit the profile at a certain stage,
it's tough.
Very cruel. It can be very cruel. Yeah. And we have a player with us that's come back to us as an under 9. He left us, mm-hmm. and he signed for Liverpool. Mm-hmm. And as an under 13, he was released. And the boy was quite. He went into some dark places, mm-hmm. And because there was no
Sure.
in my opinion, appropriate exit strategy for the boy to leave. He went through some very dark places. Us as a club invited him back, and we built up his confidence again. And the boy is playing football to a higher standard now. And the parents and the club engage regularly so that we know he's okay. And she knows, or mum knows, that there's always support there for her and him. And this is the sort of thing that we try to give out within the club, is that we're always there for these kids, good or bad. We will always be there for them to help them out.
Right. So it's, like I said, it's even more beyond football in some cases. Actually, most cases in this case, it's like it's not just about the technical side or talents and all that stuff. It's about the person. And I think that's...
Well, if you think about it, Yaf, think about it in this way. We've been running for 36 years. 34 years we've been running. And we've had teams. We're running with 29 teams this season. And we've increased that number of teams throughout those years. So there's literally been thousands and thousands of kids that have played football for us. Yet there's, like you said, there's about 100 kids that have signed professional contracts with professional clubs. There's a lot of it. That is just possibly 1% or less than 1% of the kids that have come through with us, that have played football with us. There are more kids that need us than those that don't. Because when they go to the professional clubs, they don't need us anymore.
Right.
It's when the wheels fall off or something goes wrong that we're there for them. We don't turn around and say, no, you left us. We're nothing to do with us anymore. Yes, we're here. We're here for you. Come and see us. Come and help us out. Let us help you out. This is part of why we're called the Fletcher Moss family. And this is what we want to do. We want to help anybody who's in trouble. I mean, we do have a lot of hardship cases within the club where we've got parents that have got several children doing different things. And we're aware that, there's a lot of unemployment, a lot of single parent families, and they need some help. If somebody comes to us and they've got 3 kids that are playing in the club, those 3 kids don't pay £20 a month, £60 a month to come out of a parent's weekly benefits or whatever. That's horrendous. So what we do, we come up with some sort of solution, and we dip into the club's hardship funds, and we help them out. We're there to try and provide a safe, fun environment for kids, no matter what they do, whether they go to professional or whether it's just a twice a week thing for them.
Wow. And so, you touched on something there with costs and things like that. So, like I said, if you can expand a little bit on that, like you said, what is it like over there for, at least with your program, for costs for some of these kids and their parents?
Well, depending on the area that the children are living and the sort of jobs that the parents have got and what the parents want to happen, because sometimes for some parents it's a convenience thing. They want something that's round the corner from them. They want something that's easy for them to do, something where they can drop the kid off and the club becomes the glorified babysitter.
Right.
And for, let's say, £2 a week for a training session, it's easy. It's cheaper than a packet of cigarettes.
That's crazy.
And what will happen is that in a lot of cases is that the kid gets dropped off in the car park and picked up an hour and a half later. And some parents don't see the kid train. Now that we get that, because there could be other siblings who need their attention, or the parent needs to go to work and do something, and somebody else comes and picks them up. So we get it, and this is the conversations that we have with the parent. We care about the parents, and if a parent is going to leave a child with us while they train and they have to go and do something else, we get their support and say, how long are you going to be? We're due to finish this session at this particular time. We will wait a certain amount of time and we will wait with the child. We won't send them back off to go home on their own. We'll stay with them because we're very responsible in so much of the safeguarding the children. It's a cruel world out there, and what we don't want any child going home on their own. Now, when you take into account that where we are based is we run our facility that actually belongs to the local council. And we have to pay for the facilities that we've got, and we pay for it via pitch permit fees. So because of the number of teams that we have to have a certain number of pitch permits to be able to play football, either Saturday or Sunday, or at this time of the year there will be some evening matches. You know, to be able to, because we play on pitches that are not really the top quality or the best quality, right, is that there's a lot of games get postponed throughout the winter because they are frozen, they are waterlogged, or they've been damaged because somebody's run a motorbike across them. You know, so we do get a lot of times where the pitches, and it's basically more throughout the winter, we get some games that have been postponed. So we will have evening games, and this is where, you know, we need to use the facilities get used. But with us, it's everything that we get all comes from the parents. We're so grateful for the parents being part of what it is that we do, and we also try and make it so that the parents get the most out of their pound, if you want.
I see.
So it's a case of trying to give as much back as they give to us.
Right. And so, and you mentioned that sort of there is a volunteer base to it from your aspect and some of the staff involved. It's volunteer based in some cases, right?
In all cases, wow. Everybody involved with the club, whether the trustees, whether the committee members, wow, whether the coaches, whether the assistant coaches, everybody's volunteer. Everybody's either in full-time employment or unemployed, or like myself, I'm retired. Right. But everybody is volunteer. Nobody gets anything out of the club.
Wow, that's amazing. And I guess, like I said, it's as I said, the story in itself is just amazing. Just sort of hearing that, even I think of recent, I guess there was 6 youth players that you've had that signed to Manchester United's Youth Academy, which is amazing. I mean, that's a great achievement, not just from the namesake. I think that's it's one thing to sort of, those are the highs, if you would, but there's a lot of, like you mentioned, the folks that sort of need it, if you would, it's supplying them more than even, I'd even say it's even better, more than a professional contract. It's life. I mean, you're providing them a whole sort of, mindset, culture, and way of changing just how they grow up. I think that's a good piece of it.
Well, there's one word that we will probably use the most within anything that we do, and it's one of the 4 corners of the FA's 4-corner long-term player development program, and it's social. We want the kids to be sociable with each other, to make friends, to enjoy what they do, and want to come back. And that's what we want, because like we've already discussed, those players that go on to make it into profession in the profession, they are few and far between. We want the kids that are not yet there, and we're not saying it will never happen for them, sure, but we want those kids that have played football together week in, week out, to become lifelong friends. We want them to, whenever they have a birthday party, whenever they have an engagement, whenever they get married or a christening, we want them to be able to call on each other and be friends for life. That, for me, is the best thing that can happen. We've got parents that are with us at the moment that used to play for us and have now bring their children to us. Wow. We've got some of these parents are now actually running teams that they were run by, in the previous generation by other coaches. So they've come round, and they've come round again. And for me, that is what makes it a family. What gives it that, that solidity, that sort of, that's something you can't buy.
Right. No, I think that's very important. And so I guess, just to kind of set the scene a little bit, so would you say that the program, it doesn't seem like the program is geared towards, especially at the youth age, which I want to kind of get your perspective on this, but you guys do win. I do hear that a lot, but
Mhm.
the sort of the winning and development part of it, it seems like it's more focused on the development phase, and really your whole sort of background, if you would, behind it is not just development into football, but development as a person. So can you talk a little bit about the winning versus development at that young age? I mean, yes, the kids love it, but what's your take on it?
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one, that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. Development over winning every time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we truly believe that there is a place in grassroots football for elite players.
Okay.
Not necessarily good enough players to go into the professional game yet, but to play at a higher level. For example, at the club at the moment, we have a group of year one players, year one boys and girls, who are would be termed as under six. The 5 and 6-year-olds. They are playing against under sevens players a year up.
Okay.
The team of boys who have just been signed, they are under eights. They've been playing under nines football. So they've been playing a year up. We have a team of under 13s who are again playing under 14s football. So they're playing a year up. The under 17s were playing under 18s football. So they've been playing a year up. Now, we do believe that there is a place in the game for providing a forum for those guys and girls to be able to play. Now, we've even got a group of under 10s girls that are playing under 11s football because they are that good. Now, yes, if you want those elite players playing and dominating in their own age group, if they are winning games by double figures, it's not doing them any good, and it's not doing the kids that they're playing against any good. So they need to be going up to the next level. Hence the reason why we will seek the opportunities for them to go into maybe a lower division in a different age group, but at least challenge them, which will then give the opportunity for the development teams that are below that elite level to be able to step up and possibly put them into the Premier League of their own age group. So they will get challenged. And we have an analogy that we use at the club, is that so that we'll never know whether or not these kids can actually do it or not. The analogy is you'll never find a concert pianist unless you sit them at the piano. Mm-hmm. So we need to be able to find this out. And if the kids are not ready for that yet, then fine. If it's all the kids, then we can drop them back down. If it's one or two of the kids, then we can drop one of those two kids back down and move some of the kids back up. And it's a pyramid system of development. You've got your best at the top, and you've got your development teams underneath it. It's a bit like the Ajax development program.
Exactly.
So the thing is that if you've not got this mechanism in place, you're just going to find that you've got some excellent players in mediocre teams that are going to end up coming back down to mediocre because they're not being challenged.
They weren't challenged, yeah.
And they need that challenge. It makes no difference whether it's sport or whether academia. You need to be challenging children to be able to the best. Never mind just children. All of us need challenging.
Right.
If we remain in the comfort zone, we're never going to step out of that. And if we're not challenged to step out of it, we're just going to remain mediocre, and we're never going to go forward. And we're always going to be, yes, it's just for the fun of it.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, fun is great.
That's just a life lesson in general. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What is sort of the most rewarding part of your job for you? I mean, I'm hearing tones of it, but I want you just to say it. I know it might be tough, but.
Well, first of all, it's not a job.
Yeah.
It's a job for me is something that you've got to go and do.
Got it.
You need to do it. I go because I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the social contact with the parents, and I enjoy the fun aspect of being around the kids who come. And for me, the most pleasurable thing about what I do is hearing comments like, "Thanks very much for that, Dave. Can I see you next? Can I come back next week?"
Mhm.
And when they're leaving, they're walking away, the kids are saying to the parents, "How many more sleeps before I can come back again?"
Mm.
And that's what I want. I want kids to want to come back and do what we're doing. And with our program of what we do at the soccer school, and I just want to sort of touch on at our soccer school, which is our foundation of the club, is we've got some absolutely tremendous guys that work with us. They're all minimum level 2 coaches
Mhm.
who could easily be out there earning a lot of money,
Mhm.
especially in America. English level 2 coaches will be, be dragged off the plane to go and get, to be able to go and work with the American kids. Now, these guys are young people, and they have got a fantastic attitude with young boys and girls. Absolutely brilliant with them. I mean, I'd like to name them. I mean, there's Josh, there's James, there's Danny, there's Roche, and these guys are absolutely tremendous with the kids and the parents. And this is one of the reasons why the kids are coming back week after week after week. The parents will send us a text. Is everything on this week? We'll leave a voicemail for the parents to come, so they know whether we're on or off because of the weather. And what it is that we do, we have a syllabus, a soccer school curriculum, if you want, and every week we have a different subject we work on. We work on passing, we work on shooting, we work on dribbling. We have hero skills where we will pick some skills that professional players will do, and we'll show the kids how to do these skills. Every first Saturday in the month, we don't have a subject as such to practice. It's what's called World Cup Day. And what we'll do is in the different age groups, we'll put them into their groups and we'll put international kits on them. Brazil, Spain, Portugal. Cool. And we'll put all these kits on them, and we'll make little 3v3 teams, and we'll do little round robin tournaments with them. And the winning team will get a little medal on a ribbon with the club badge in the middle, and the kids absolutely adore it. They will treasure that because they have won it. I mean, little kids will come to us and say, "I scored the most goals, do I get a medal?" No, you don't. You didn't win. And it's getting them to actually understand and acknowledge that you need to earn something before you don't get it for free. And it may seem a little bit tough on 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old kids, but it's a life lesson, like mentioned.
Right.
And for these kids to be able to say, "Is it World Cup next week?" Yes, it is. And they're running towards the pitches to get training, to get to put in a little 3v3 team. And the kid, we don't put the kids in 3 kids that are absolutely tremendous against 3 kids that have got, What we do is just pick the kids. And the way we run the teams is we'll say to the kids, "Where's your dad?" "Oh, my dad's not here, it's my mum." "Okay, go and get her." And we'll let her run a group of 3 players.
Okay.
And it's not the coaches. The coaches will referee the games. Not that they need refereeing.
Right.
It's that they'll just run up and down and throw the ball in. And we don't have throw-ins. We have kick-ins or dribbling. Yeah. Because, it's a soccer school. Yeah, I know they're going to need to throw the ball at some stage, but it's all done on the floor.
Yeah, later, yeah.
It's all dribbling, loads and loads of touches of the ball. And that for us is what it's about. Yeah, some kids won't get it. So what? They will get it in the next couple of weeks. But, that's the way we do it. And we want it to be fun. Everybody enjoys it. Everybody has a laugh. Everybody, somebody falls over. I mean, I fall over every week, and the kids just, the kids and the parents are laughing at me. Great, I'm having fun.
Right. So, like I said, it seems like the culture in itself has just been really the I would say the secret sauce, if you would, but that really is, it bleeds from the culture first. And like I said, almost culture first in football, second or third. It's really not, even if we're lower than that, really it's how you operate, culturally with the group.
I couldn't disagree with you. I mean, I've not thought of it being like that before, because it's what we've done for such a long time.
Yeah, football is like
if I can just be a little bit indulgent for a moment. About 5 years ago, we got an email from two parents from Norway, and they said that they were coming over to watch a Manchester United game, and they said, "Can we come and join in with the Fletcher Moss family?" Now, in Norway, it's very similar to the USA and a lot of the rest of the world. Is that they have a different academic year. Theirs is January to December, whereas ours is September to August.
Okay.
So we are our age group of boys and girls are 9 months behind the rest of the world in maturity.
Right.
Now, both these boys were in the same age group at school, although if they were in England, one had been in 1 year and the other one had been a year younger because of the birthdays. Now, because of the international regulations, we couldn't put them into a team, because we'd need to register them to go into the team to be able to play a league game, and it just wouldn't happen. So what we did do, we explained this to them, and we invited them to come to the soccer school. So they turned up, and they came to the soccer school, and they absolutely loved it. These two parents were both coaches at a Norwegian grassroots football club called Rossland Football Club. And they were great kids. The parents were absolutely brilliant. We had a good chat with them. We spoilt them, to be honest, because they were such lovely kids. And we've kept in touch with them since. Now, for the last 3 years, this would have been the 4th year this year, we would have taken our soccer school over to Norway. They've invited us over there to work for a week with their kids. I mean, they don't pay us. Right. All they do is pay all our expenses. We pay for the hotels, the meals and the flights. And we put the soccer school on for a certain number of days. We do a lot of work with their coaches on how we work, to pass on some of our habits, if you want, some of our, some of the things that we do and how we do things. And this year we should have been going again, but because of the COVID-19 situation, we've not been able to, which is a bit of a shame, but it is what it is, unfortunately. But we have built up a relationship with a Norwegian organisation that is putting into practice some of the things that we do. Now, one of the massive differences between UK football and Norwegian football is the Norwegian FA do not recognise academy football until the year of the 12th birthday.
Okay.
Whereas in the UK, kids are being signed as under 9s into academy football. So, yet they've not done too bad as Norwegians, as a small country. They've not done too, especially considering they don't play during the winter because everything's frozen up. They have actually done very, very well with the number of recognised players that have come through and played at the highest level, internationals, and also like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who's now managing at the biggest club in the world. So they've done very, very well, considering there is a lot more emphasis on skiing or handball in Norway than there is association football in Norway. So there's massive differences, but as I say, we have built up a fantastic relationship with Rossland Football Club in Norway, and it's one of the byproducts of what it is that we've done because of how we do things. They've wanted to buy into what it is that we've done.
Wow.
And it's strange. It's weird.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's good to kind of, establish. I'm always big on trying to establish those sort of, partnerships, if you would, because you're learning from them as well, and they're learning from you. And I think that's a good, because, in this, this industry, if you would, I mean, especially at the youth level, I mean, I hate to say it, but obviously I told you I got into it, 4 years ago, and then 11 years before that, 4 years with Aspire. But there's a lot of arrogance at the youth level from, maybe could be the coaches, could be the directors and different things like that, of how to develop. Everyone's very focused on maybe too much on the football side of things the most, and less so much on the player, and kind of realizing what they could, potentially, mature to. But again, just focus too much a bit on what they have known, or what, things like technical abilities. Have these astound licenses, if you would, and this is the way that it's being done. But no, sometimes missing a little bit of the personal side is also kind of detrimental, I believe, in some cases. So
I agree with you. I agree. One of the things that worries me, especially about English football, is that it's being established at the moment that the coaching should be, and the talent identification should be, to the England DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that worries me somewhat, because if there's a particular DNA for a player, then what about the Ravel Morrisons of this world? What about the Paul Gascoignes of this world? What about the George Bests of this world? What about the Lionel Messis of this world? If you were to look at the class of '92, if you make a comparison with the class of '92 and the England DNA, Paul Scholes would not be part of that template, which is frightening.
Right.
Paul Scholes was probably one of the most influential players in that group that came through. Okay, Ryan Giggs, a little bit older, but he had so much more. But Paul Scholes was the one that, because of his stature, because of his disability, because he was asthmatic. At the moment, he in this particular climate, he would not have been in the system.
Right.
He'd have been relegated to somewhere, in the lower leagues, or even never playing.
Right.
Which would be an absolute crime. Same as Lionel Messi. Now,
I agree.
If you think about his stature, and he is predominantly left-footed. Now the DNA is that we want big, athletic players that can play with both feet. Now, you've got some clubs who want to look for big, athletic players because they say we will be able to give them these technical skills.
Right.
You've got to have some sort of attribute in the first place to be able to have these technical skills. I remember a comment that was from Eric Harrison at Manchester United when Ryan Giggs was in the first team, because Ryan Giggs was predominantly left-footed and he very rarely used his right foot. And they were trying to get him to use his right foot more and more and more to bring it on. And he ended up saying, apparently, to Eric Harrison, instead of trying to get me to do something that I'm not good at doing, why don't you make it so that this side that I am good at doing is the best it can be?
Wow.
And they stopped trying in the end. They stopped trying because, instead of looking at, if you want, you can sort of mirror this in disabilities. People are far too quick to recognise the disability, not the ability. They'll think that somebody because they are registered disabled, they'll think, oh, they're not, they've got a disability, instead of looking at the abilities. And for me, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to look at it. I've never heard it that way, but you're absolutely right on that. And so, I guess even now I'm getting a better understanding of even the program, but would you say, especially for those that are sort of moving into the academy level, do you feel that talent is pretty much the only thing that would sort of allow them to progress throughout that system, or is there more to it than just talent from what you've seen?
Oh, yeah, there's far more to it than just talent. There's a science to it now as well. You look at how, because I say at the moment they are recruiting children in the years of under nines. At the moment, they're due to go into the under 9 year, and they are rejecting kids because at this moment they are not big enough. Now, if the science comes into it, is when they get to a certain age, then they will do some, use the science, i.e. measuring around the wrist or around the knee to project how tall they're going to be. Now, obviously, this is a massive thing if you're going to be a goalkeeper.
Okay.
You know, if your mindset is I want to play in goals and I want to be the best I can be in goals, then if they are in the system and mum and dad are giants and gran and granddad are giants, then there's a good possibility that this kid will be a giant and we can give him the goalkeeping skills. But at the moment, this kid is not massive. Mum and dad's not massive. So at the moment, we will look at somebody who has got bigger parents rather than the kid who is technically better. Because we can give the big kid more skill, we can give them these skills. So for me, it's a little bit short-sighted, and we've got to hope that the kids who do actually get rejected get acknowledged either by other organisations, other clubs, or they stay with it until they do actually hit the growth spurt and show these people that they have the attributes.
Wow. And so in terms of sort of the players and positions also, this might be a question that are they particularly locked into a position per se, or do you initially they come into the program, you say, okay, you're a left winger, you're a striker, you're a defender. I mean, they may naturally gradually move to that spot, give or take, depending on how they play, and then you would rotate them. But is it sort of locked for them at that age, especially at I think 9 and 8 in those ages for you, or is it pretty much it's just fun for
them? Depending on the coaches that are running the teams. If we're running an elite team,
all right, okay,
then the coach will purposely look for players that have for certain positions.
Okay.
And that group of players that are being signed, they are players that have got particular skills. I'm just thinking in my mind of the players of what they got. In them, you've got a couple of the players have got really, really, and I'm going to use this word, questionable attitudes, in so much as that they are real lads.
Right.
They are real lads. They are kids who will, there's one of them who, if I'm sat down now, he'd come behind me and he'd go, "Hiya, Dave, everything okay?" He's a real kid,
right.
Or he'll go and do something like that. Whereas some of the other kids, if you want a little bit more respectful, I've got no problem with that because I want kids to be kids.
Right.
And then in the group you've got, but they are very, very, very skillful. In the group, the one of the other boys, he is an out-and-out striker.
Okay.
That's what he wants to do. He wants to pick the ball up from wherever he is and go and make his way for goal. One of the other kids is more pragmatic. What he does, he thinks about the game and he will read the game. He would rather sit at the back and read where it's going and then be able to develop something further on. So, the coach who was with them specifically looked for kids to be able to fill these particular spots to do it. And the kids who were not, one of the situations we had in the team that was below, the development team that was below, we had 2 players that we needed to challenge. One of them went on into this group and he's been signed in the Manchester United group. One of the kids, because this kid was preferred by the coach to one of the other kids, is that he came back down because they couldn't play the 2 players in that same position.
Got it.
So what he did, he came back into the development team. That boy is now going to be signing for Blackpool.
Okay.
So he's still got the opportunity to do it. Yeah. And he comes from a really good background of great parents and, great attitude. And he's a lovely kid as well. He calls me Crazy Dave.
So Dave, sort of, if you could also kind of shed some light, I guess, on, I guess first, roughly how many players are in the soccer school? Or football school, if you would.
The football club or in the soccer school.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Oh, there is a difference. Yeah. So if you
yeah. The football club it comprises of all the teams, the 29 teams,
Mhm.
plus it incorporates what's called the Wildcat group, which is a girls only training session.
Mhm.
That they train at a different night, a different venue, and we also have the community soccer school that kids just come and go. They'll turn up every week, or they'll turn up every other week, or they'll turn up whenever they feel like it.
I see.
That's what that's about. That's that's our safety net, if you want, of kids who they may not want to have that competitiveness. They may not want to be put in that situation. They don't want the pressure. They just want to come on a Saturday morning and, put a training bib on and go and kick a ball about with the mates. They don't want to be part of a team, and that's what that's there for. So at the moment, I could say that on the register of soccer school kids that have come and gone and keep on going, there's 3,500 kids in that thing.
Okay. No,
Now, regularly, we get 70 or 80 kids turn up regularly. But obviously, because of the length of time that we've had the soccer school running, some of these kids are now parents themselves and bring the kids back to the soccer school. Within the club, we have the 29 teams, plus the Wildcat Centre.
Wow. So you would say that even the soccer school is, I wouldn't usually necessarily call it a feeder, but really it's a way to just get the kids out there and they enjoy themselves. If there's interest, if you would, from a potential player, it looks like he's, shining, if you would, and wants to take it to the elite level, then he gets to go into that. Okay. That's
because the coaches are level 2 coaches,
right?
FA level 2 coaches, and they know how to identify kids.
Yeah.
We're able to, if you want, be able to. We can scout the kids there and then. They are close to us. We can see what their attitudes are like. We can see what the behaviour is like. We can see what the parents are like. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are always going to be the nightmare parents. The parents who are playing the game through the kids' eyes.
Right.
And they can be nightmare. But what we do is we put those parents into a position where they have to behave themselves. Mm-hmm. Like I said to you, we will ask parents to go and run a group of 3 players in the World Cup. We will get that mouthy parent, that parent that is bolty, the parent who is obnoxious, come and run this group of players. You've not got your own child in this group. Right. You have got somebody else's children in this group. Right. And they see a different side to the coin. They see that they can't be pushing their own child now. They've now got to be working with 3 strangers' kids. Right. And it becomes totally different to them. And sometimes these parents learn that they've got to behave themselves. And sometimes these parents rise above the rest and want to be a coach. And that's how that's one of the methods that we use to try and find new coaches.
Good. Yeah, that's a good way. Good program, a good system itself. Dave. So Dave, I mean, I just really want to thank you for taking the time, obviously, to talk with us today. Like I told you, I reached out to you because sort of just understanding your program a little bit more. I was in awe really of it. And I think that it's something good. And also a little bit, that's what's, I say, sort of why I got in it was really sort of to build the player. And like I said, sort of the football will come along with it as they go. And you'll identify talent as needs be. But, ideally we create pathways, which it seems like you guys are doing as well, for the kids that can take it to that next level. So that's been great. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure. Invite us over.
Yeah, that should definitely, without a doubt, we will. Without a doubt.
I mean, there's only one problem, though. Only one problem. My wife would have to come with me because she loves America.
No, definitely. America. That's not a question.
Yeah. Absolutely loves it.
This has broadened my scope for a little bit, so we'll definitely work on, some partnerships, if you would, to definitely get you over here for sure.
I must say, I mean, because she's in the garden at the moment. I must say that I am blessed because my wife is for a start, she's a football fanatic,
Okay.
and she supports everything that I do as far as the football's concerned. She loves the game. We're season ticket holders at Old Trafford, so she's frustrated at the moment the fact that there's no football on, and we just can't wait. So I'm just give her some credit. I'm really blessed.
That's great. That's great. And well, they're training now. It looks like they're slowly back at training. It looks like voluntarily. So
I personally believe it's too soon.
Yeah, it's too soon. Yeah,
that's my opinion. I think we'll take one step forward and two steps back.
Yeah. And I guess the world's learning as we speak. So
yeah, it is. Anyway, Yath, thanks very much for your time. Much appreciated. Good to put a face to the voice.
Yes, definitely. And like I said, we'll definitely connect more in the future.
Okay, mate. Be careful. God bless. Bye-bye.